Mm.
Tantric date nights.
Yeah, it's a great way to make space for things to happen.
Yeah. It's a great way to turn an evening that would be on the couch and maybe cozy into something that feels really excited, connected, really relaxed and safe. So basically, how to feel really in love and really cozy, and at the same time, have this electric charge of desire sparkling about.
Sounds great. Sounds like a lot.
That's the purpose for me of a tantric date night.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on for me as well, yeah. And some connection.
Exactly.
I keep on going on about the connection.
I mean, who doesn't want connection, right, with their partner? It's actually really horrible if you don't feel connected while you're with someone. It's a really, really specific type of loneliness. So yeah, connection is important.
Muy importante. Yeah, because often a lot of the times, pursuing intimacy for me is really also just pursuing connection.
Yeah, I know, who was that? Scotty O from Austin, Texas, Tantra teacher, said to me that men often need sex to feel connected and women often need connection to want sex. And that has obviously nothing to do with Tantra. That is just about sex. But it really highlights sometimes the difficulties to come together when one person feels a desire to connect and have intimacy in the form of sex, and that's really fulfilling their needs of being connected. And for the other person, they need a complete different form of intimacy to even want sex, because there's so much we can have as intimacy, right? You were mentioning from your Tantra course the whole point of being connected to mirror each other, for example, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a perfect example of how relationships generally have to both take one step to meet in the middle,
That's a good point.
you know?
Yeah.
Let's both take one step to meet in the middle on the couch and have a tantric date
Exactly.
night or on the floor
Or on the bed.
at a salsa bar.
2 chairs, also possible. It doesn't really, you don't really have to look like you're doing yoga in a meditation pose, although it can be very comfortable.
So what's your favorite tantric date night that we've done? Or that you've done with someone else? It doesn't have to be about me.
Well, I started Tantra when we were already going out, so um I would definitely say my 33rd birthday that you organized in many beautiful ways. I know whether it was like a hotel in Edinburgh that you booked, there was a spa, it was a whole day. We even went to like Ann Summers, bought some naughty things. Like it was really, really fun. And one part of it was in the hotel room, you set up this workshop space and you were simultaneously the participant, the only other participant, of course, after me, and the facilitator. And that was really, really sweet because I remember you facilitating, but then also, being the participant following the instructions. So that was really endearing in the beginning. And then it's really quickly became super heart opening, and by that I mean I was bawling my eyes out because I was so touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually thinking about it, the heart opening stuff, a lot of it was really actually more authentic relating orientated.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like sandwiched within a tantric kind of ritual, but it was actually just more like prompts for vulnerability of sharing. I can't really remember exactly. I think one of them was like something about what, like how do you see our future or something. I can't really
Yeah.
remember.
And also just the basics, like what do you appreciate about
Yeah.
the other person? That already had me in tears when you told me what you appreciate about me. Absolutely. And then also tuning into why I love you so much is like also, yeah, it's really simple, but really cuts.
Yeah, I think that was also so powerful because it is like the thought that matters, really, the intention that matters. And it doesn't mean that everyone has to like go out and make these big days, although it is important to have these big days. Um,
Have a big day.
it's just like setting up the space to hold that, to allow the vulnerability to happen.
Yeah.
It's like a lubricant, really. It's like lubricating the vulnerable emotional
The
feelings.
heartstrings. It's lubricating the
So
heart.
yeah. You know, if you had that same conversation while on a busy train after like a football match, it would
Yeah.
have absolutely complete opposite effect.
Yeah, I think it could still be cute, but you wouldn't be what they always call in the workshop scene. You wouldn't drop in. You wouldn't really have the chance to drop in as deep. It takes a lot of courage to soften in a place that feels a little intense. So being in a hotel room with a candle and this containment of the ritual just is a much better setting for us to melt a little bit.
Yeah.
Melt a little bit all the kind of walls that we naturally put in place to protect ourselves. So that was very well designed and very well orchestrated. What is the word? The executed.
Executed that date perfectly.
Well executed.
Such a weird word, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and just to clarify for everyone listening, when we say tantric, we mean inspired by tantric philosophy and very much in the neo-tantra world, which means it's blended principles of ancient philosophy from India with modern views on psychology, relating, trauma, informedness, somatic things.
Also, the general idea that we are living in quite a lot of confinements with our sexuality, and a lot of our emancipation comes from being more sexually liberated in terms of not doesn't mean just like fucking everyone. It also just means to be able to be connected, to be attuned with your own eros energy and allow that to flow through you instead of locking it in the basement.
Yeah. Yeah, there's in the sense of tantric philosophy is so rich. There's so many ways we can draw that in and be like, oh, this is why it's tantric. But also it's basically conscious relating and conscious intimacy, because the part of being aware of what's happening and creating, for example, a ritual space and focusing on not only feeling lust, but also expanding our capacity to feel love. That's very beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah. So just clarifying, that's what's tantric about your date night. The presence and the love.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the connection.
And how you do it, like what you do with your sexual energy when it comes up. Yeah, but we can talk about that another time. So good. Let's get back to the tantric date nights. That was a very extravagant one, right? There was like very enchanting experience for me. Um, let's have something a little simpler. So how do we use all the things that we've learned in workshops and retreats all over the world when we want to shift from feeling a bit meh and maybe also a little distant, maybe a little fizzy? How do we shift into a space where we actually can soften and connect from that soft place rather than having all this resistance?
Hmm.
Do you have an example where you like this always, not always, but sometimes this is something that has really shifted something from me?
Well, I really like candles. I like the mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I find setting up a space that's different than the normal day-to-day life by having the ambiance with candles really does allow me to sink into this um more much more down regulated actually.
Mm.
And this then what we do in that space of either eye contact, synchronized breathing, and gentle touch. You know, that can be done within, or we've done that within like 20 minutes or something. And this really just kind of, for me, helps me to be very much in the present
Mm.
instead of just being bothered about why I was so um just fixated with day-to-day bullshit before. And the candles, the music, the the scene kind of wipes that away, and stepping into that allows me to connect with you with some, they're quite foundational, but they're super powerful still,
Mhm.
which is like eye gazing, transfiguration, looking in each other's eyes, synchronizing some breath, and then some gentle exploration of touch, like, like touching like the shoulder and stuff like that. That's super powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most powerful thing about it is not that, as you say, the practice itself is pretty fundamental, like it's not rocket science, but doing it even though it feels a little fizzy. For me,
Yeah.
there's like a rigidity around me if I'm like, oh, I'm not in the mood to be in this like sensual space, or I maybe just feel a little frustrated and I just kind of want to watch TV, or maybe there's something that you said or done where we were a bit like just like a little like cat and dog, just a bit like and during that day, and then to choose to say it's kind of like a discipline almost of like, should we do this for 20 minutes? And it takes like to get over the resistance sometimes to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's vulnerable to sit there and look at each other and choose to open the heart when there is, yeah, some dissonance.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is not just to hold space for yourself and for the other
Mm.
person, but just to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm a bit fizzy. And then I don't know, I'm kind of just like, so what? Like, what does it actually mean? What, I don't really need to like write an essay about it or do an investigation about it. Just like be with it.
Mm.
And you can have that like intimate space with another person while still being, a little bit dysregulated yourself. But after a while, it just melts away.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you're not like lashing out and stuff
Yeah.
or projecting like negative energy onto the other person. But if I'm just sitting there being like, you know what, I am a bit fizzy, I'm a bit
Mhm.
pissed off. I'm holding space for that. I'm not pushing
Mhm.
it away. I'm not being like, oh, this is ruining the evening. I'm just being with it
Yeah.
while participating in like connection.
Yeah.
I think it really does well to help just
Move through it.
move through it.
Yeah. It's choosing love, right? It's like, oh, I am feeling all this crunchiness, and I'm I'm making the decision to connect in this way. And yeah, I'm always surprised how well all of this stuff then actually works.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. The thing is like how it works for what? Well, how does it work? Well,
To
what do you mean?
go
Like,
from
what's the thing?
hard and armored to soft and open.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
To transform from a place where connection isn't really as invited or possible, or where it feels almost out of reach, to go to a place where it's like, oh, this feels so good that I'm in your arms, or it feels so good that I had this little cry and now I'm actually feeling horny, or oh, this feels so good that we're just lying here together for a bit with no TV, nothing,
Yeah,
just being with each other.
because I think that's an important point to clarify. Because like these tantric date nights are not a stepping stone for more sex.
No.
And like that's the other thing, that why they're so powerful is because they don't have that expectation.
Yeah, that is a really good point, because if the expectation would be there, it's kind of like hovering over the experience. And what expectation does is it takes us out of the present moment, because other instead of just being with what feels great in the moment and like softening my heart, or opening up and having a little cry, or just enjoying the touch that I'm receiving or giving, there is this idea like, oh, am I ready for what's next? Do I want what's coming next? Is how can I get to be in a state that I'm open for next? you know And
Yeah.
that's such a killer of yeah, just I'm not present anymore if I'm
Yeah.
thinking these
Yeah.
things.
You're in your head.
I'm in your head.
Yeah. You don't want to be in your head. You want to be in your body.
Exactly. Ah.
Yeah. And I think going back to it, it does work in terms of what you meant in melting into the here and now,
Mm-hmm.
which is so tantric.
So tantra. It's a portal. It's a portal into the now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think for me there was definitely a time where my spontaneous desire was almost gone, so I wouldn't really feel like just this craving unless I'm ovulating, but this like craving to have intimacy or to take my clothes off or to actually have sex. And I think one thing that definitely massively helps is having pleasure as a goal instead of having, wanting to create um, a moment where sex is happening, having pleasure, but also just a general softening that we've been talking about when there is connection and safety is something that you said is a lubricant. It just creates keeps the energy moving and keeps the energy flowing, not in my own body, but also between us.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel having these tantric date nights has really helped us over the years to choose love and choose each other and choose intimacy over and over again. And we had different phases of different nights. I really like probably 5 years ago, we were still in Edinburgh. During COVID times where we did a lot of yin and yang dates.
They were nice.
Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, yin and yang's all about polarity, baby. So yin and yang date nights can take shape in many different ways, but you have one person being yin, who goes with the flow, and then we have one person being yang, who directs and says what's going to happen, chooses what's going to happen. So, and it doesn't matter your gender. The idea is to switch around. So, for example, Laura took me on a date night and she was yang and I was in my yin. And she took me to a Chinese restaurant because she wanted to do it. And she ordered some food that she thought that we would both enjoy. And then we went to a cocktail bar.
I would even start earlier, like for the person who chooses, right? Like the yang person, you can take this as far as you want to, dear listener. But like I, for example, even choose what you're gonna wear.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
you're gonna wear this and this. And I've also chosen where we cross the road because you think I'm a crazy road crosser. And I was like, I'm in control right now. So we're going over the road here.
We almost died.
We didn't. And then in the restaurant that I chose, you were actually vegetarian at that time, but I know that you were finding it a little difficult not to eat meat at all. So I actually ordered you a dish with meat,
Oh wow.
even though you were vegetarian, because I knew that you would really enjoy it, but you wouldn't have never ordered it yourself because you didn't want to, like break your vegetarianism.
Wow.
So just to clarify, the yang person is not doing, I mean, you will discover what type of leader you are, but it's not only about just doing what you want and the other person has to just follow. The real magic happens when the yang person is choosing to guide the yin person, in this case that was Patrick, into even more opening. So opening into pleasure, opening into the experience, opening into trust. So the surrender that you can really surrender into what the guidance is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and then we went to a bar. Do you wanna?
Yeah, that's kind of the bit where I remembered most was because we went to a bar and we had a drink and there was like table service and the guy came up to me was like, "Do you want another drink?" And I was like, "You're gonna have to ask my wife." Which kind of looked at me like, "All right." We all looked at Laura and she was like, I can't remember.
I ordered you loads of good stuff.
I think I got another drink.
Oh, you definitely got loads of different drinks. I think I know that you like beer, so I obviously ordered you beer. But then I think at some point I ordered us like a crazy cocktail as well.
Yeah, we had a
It's quite fun.
cocktail.
Which is also, again, this would have been something that you would have never ordered for yourself, but it was still really enjoyable. So,
So the point really is to play with polarity, to play with the dynamics of leading and following, and to also be really aware that it's not set in stone. It changes. So um, one person can be leading one time and then following the next time, and it's
mhm.
stepping into that polarity of how that works. And yeah, one person is leading and the other person is following. And that following is really like a submissive state. It's like surrendering to the other person's direction and seeing how that feels. How does it
Mhm.
feel to be leading someone into unknown states of expansion? And this is really powerful. And it can be something a little bit more, we Laura did very well in terms of like pushing the boat out within the context, but it could be like surprising your partner by taking them to like a dancing class, even though they know that they don't really like dancing that much. So you can really push them to see how they feel and respond to that. Do they trust your leadership enough just to go with it and expand into that moment at the same time?
Yeah.
So it can be quite challenging if you want it to be.
And it also reveals power dynamics, right, in a couple. So if it's difficult for one person to lead or to follow, then this is ideally you're making it a playful experience. And this is called the yin and yang game. It's from Margot Anand. Yeah, it's from Margot. Margot Anand has come up with this fun exercise. Um, yeah, I think we should bring those back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Is we noticed you go through phases with our tantric date night. So there was phases of being really into the 3-minute game from Betty Martin and including that into our rituals. And then we kind of embodied a lot of the teaching, I guess, and had a lot of revelations. And then we kind of move on from certain things. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't be potent if we would do them again, but I think it's also nice to realize that with practice, some things just sink in and they're just now part of how you act and what you do. So you don't need to necessarily repeat something forever.
No, you do it until as it serves its purpose, and then you
Yeah.
move on, and then you can pick it up later as some fun times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um. So, what's the biggest kind of challenge for you to initiate a date night?
I think my biggest challenge, and I've worked loads on this, but it still is asking for my desires. The idea, it's just so, I think female-bodied people, women, um, have it kind of easy in the sense that in a lot of heterosexual dynamics, the man is usually up for it and up for most of the things that could happen. So I'm kind of used to having desires that you are absolutely excited to fulfill. Let's say I want to have oral sex and I would bring that to you. Chances are that you're like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Really high. So it doesn't really allow for meeting the edge of asking for something, regardless of basically taking the risk to bring a desire, even if the other person might not want it. And then like being with that challenge of the other person saying like, you know what, today I'm not really feeling it. Let's do that another time, or maybe you're not into it at all. So basically, when I don't have the feeling that you're like super up for something, I wouldn't really suggest. And I think that's a really I think that we're both missing out because of this limitation. Because
But why, I don't get it. So you scared of me saying no, or are you
yeah,
just scared of me, or are you just scared that
I just the idea of asking you for something without knowing, just from your body language and my idea of like knowing you, that you're super into it. So for example, for me to receive oral sex from you, when I can mainly enjoy it when I feel like you're super up for it. You kind of want to almost do it more than I want it. Then it's very enjoyable for me. But like to ask for something like a massage when I don't, or whatever, where I feel like you're doing it.
But you would prefer me to say no, though. You want me to say no. Because
No,
you want me to give like a half-arsed massage?
I would always obviously want you to say no, but if you don't want to do it. But there's also this area of,
I'll do it for you.
yeah, I'll do it for you. I happily do that for you. And that actually feels really edgy. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
So for
Do you want to ask me for something and I say, I'm not up for it, but I'll do it for you?
if you had that, for example, when I wanted an anal massage,
Oh my God.
it was really vulnerable because I wasn't sure if you were really into it. So then I was like, oh, I'm asking something that he might do, almost like, can be so healing. For me, anal massage is like, not because I'm so horny for it. It's more like, yeah, that would actually really ground me and make me feel probably quite a bit safer in my body. And I was up for so observing that experience of like how it could actually help me, be more grounded and be more relaxed and less anal, I guess, basically.
Mm.
And for me, I struggle bringing that desire to you because I was just really scared that you either don't want to do it and I feel awkward, or you're doing it for me. Somehow that's like really feels really weird to have the idea that you're not like super into it. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I do think there's something like
It's just receiving is really vulnerable.
receiving is very vulnerable.
That's the basic
And
word of
receiving a
this.
no is also
Yes.
not a pleasant thing.
So receiving is quite vulnerable. So I can avoid asking for my desires because receiving them feels vulnerable. That's the bottom line.
Mm.
Ta-da! We got it.
And moving forward, if your partner asks you to do something, maybe directly and maybe not so directly, about 5 times, listen.
That was your takeaway from
Say
that.
yes or say no, but complete the loop.
This is Patrick's takeaway from me trying to receive an anal massage.
I listened, I heard it, but I didn't like register and like put that on like my top 3 to-do lists for the week.
Big mistake.
And then it came back and hit me right in the butt.
It was beautiful though in the end. It's vulnerable.
We had to get through it though.
Yeah, we had
We had
a
to
balance.
sit through our own emotions. I quite like the whole holding space for emotions to be there
Yeah,
instead of like leaving or like
sitting in the discomfort.
overreacting or
Yeah,
like leaving the room or like looking at your phone. Just sit there
in the awkward,
in the
uncomfortable.
awkwardness.
I mean,
And be angry as well. You can do whatever you want in your mind. And then after a while, it's just like,
yeah.
it's almost like you get bored of it.
I love how you describe that. I mean, that's the best way to deal with emotions, right? To just like sit there. But yeah, my reflex of wanting to look at my phone or sometimes running out is definitely quite high. But yeah, at the anal massage debacle day, we've done that really well. We sat through our discomfort of me voicing that I feel let down and you having your process with that. Anyway, tantric date nights.
Doesn't have anal
Doesn't need
massage.
to be an anal massage.
Could be. We won't be guiding it.
Can be. Ah, what's actually working for us at the moment really well, of all the different phases of cute little things that we've done in the past years.
Oh,
Oh, there's a
someone's at the door.
postman.
Just go, I'm going to go answer it.
And you didn't bark. We have a little dog adopted for a day or two.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
How you doing?
Not too bad, though. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you get a letter, my little darling? Gorgeous.
You got something, I got something.
Oh, both of us. Okay, so I wanted to share what are the date nights that we're doing currently that we really love.
Nando's.
Nando's. No,
we don't go to Nando's.
we're doing mindful genital massages.
Yes.
And that has been really fun. I couldn't have done that as well as now 5 years ago. I think it's also like it depends on the relationship, but it takes a lot of trust and it takes a lot of skill to really drop in.
Yeah, because it's
Or practice, not skill. It takes practice for me.
yeah, because
Practice,
it's
drop
like
in.
quite like straight in. There's not that much.
Yeah,
There's not that much like
there's not much
preparation.
fluff, but
Explain.
it can be wrapped into all the little preparation steps.
Yes.
But what we're doing right now, pretty like bluntly, is we set a timer for 15 minutes. Make a cozy nest. Obviously, it needs to be warm. There's coconut oil. And then we mindfully massage each other's genitals
One at a time.
as a meditation. So I usually start on Patrick. Patrick's lying down. And if you were visualizing a beautiful penis, you're going up on the shaft, over the head, down on the other side of the shaft, around the bolitos, and back up. That could be one movement that the receiver can meditate on. And why it's a meditation is because it's not aiming to kind of build pleasure and climax into a peak experience of pleasure, but it's more like waves, right? Every time it comes to the tip, there's more excitement. You can also totally do that with a flaccid penis, so it doesn't have to be erect or anything. That doesn't matter. But yeah, and then I just intuitively alternate a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of like
Yeah.
flow. It's
I
not
just
like it's
like-
not a strict pattern.
Whatever you want to do, you can go in little spirals. You can just gently take your fingertips on the head. You can put the bolitos in your hands like this little precious soft squishy bag and just circle around those bolitos with your fingertip. Like perineum can be gently circled. So you can explore. There's no right or wrong. It's just the intention of the touch is not to build an arousal and excite. It's to treat this whole area in this slow flowing motion, which gives the focal point for the receiver to meditate on.
Yeah, and I never really find it as like, I find it very relaxing. And I never really found it as like building up a lot of arousal energy for climax or penetration. Like I don't, sometimes you get in a mode where you're like kind of your hips are moving with it. But I just find it all just like very, a flow state of meditation. It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's quite intoxicating actually.
It's a beautiful, I'm not a biologist, but like the hormone cocktail that you get from relaxing into pleasure like that is just really uplifting. So basically, we usually do it to feel relaxed and energized at the same time and to get out of our own kind of, I don't know, like if things are meh.
Yeah. So then we would swap the 15-minute timer would go up. We would do, and then there's sublimation as well. So towards the end, we're
Yeah, that's
supplementing the energy
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
So it's not just staying down below.
Yeah, you
And-
don't want to arouse and then run around with this like horniness. That's not the point of it, to be super horny. The point is to be relaxed and turned on, energized.
Life force, baby.
Exactly.
And then we swap, and I would give a mindful, arousing touch to Laura, focusing on the clitoris and doing the classic figure of eight, going down the outer labia, beneath the vaginal opening and back around the other sides. And then, as Laura mentioned as well, there's quite a lot of like freestyle of how it's feeling, but it's just staying on the outside. really, with coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
Slow.
Can also be
Mindful.
almond oil because it
Can be
doesn't
almond oil.
it doesn't get absorbed by the skin so much, so you don't have to constantly put more because it needs to be super oily for this to be pleasant. And again, like for the women, you don't have to feel super aroused by it at all. You can just be relaxed, like as if any other part of your body is getting stroked. And if
And
you
guys,
feel
you don't need a
aroused,
hard on either.
yeah,
Because the idea is not that it's pretty actually quite firm about it, is like you're not having sex afterwards.
yes, good point.
You know, so the idea is
Yeah.
not to arouse the other person. The idea is not to like massage Laura, and if she's not like going, oh my God, that's so nice, I'm getting worried that I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
It's just be present with it, and
Mhm.
the person can do whatever. If they fall asleep, yeah, that's fine.
Exactly. That's what I
It's
meant
nice.
with the women. You don't have to feel that pressure of like, oh my God, I need to love this, and then to be super aroused in 5 more minutes because he's been working so delicately on my vulva. No, no, no. It's you're basically meditating.
15 minutes.
So you bring your awareness to the sensation back, back, back. Even if the sensation is more of a nurturing or, as Patrick described, relaxing sensation.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. And eventually you will notice if you do this more, you will get more sensitive to subtle sensations. So you will increase the pleasure that you receive from these 15 minutes will increase over time. So you get more and more and more pleasure without that either being the goal or that having to be a peak. In fact, it's actually much better if no one orgasms because then you get to keep that energy, to cultivate that, so you have more turn on basically for your day. It's like the perfect matcha latte. It makes you awake, focused, and relaxed. Who doesn't want to feel like that? Yeah.
Just trying to think about something about matcha lattes, but I can't.
Just trying to
They're nice.
fun. Yeah, so this is something, it's not a full date night, but it's like date moments, date half an hours. And
Date
there's-
moments, and that's when you can turn into like creating your own little pockets of connection, really. And I think it's super powerful.
Mhm.
Pockets of intimacy.
Yeah.
So what would these date nights look like then?
Well,
What's the actual, what's the structure?
yes. So we're going to offer these because we have realized over the years we have done so many different things and we want to put them all together into a fun journey so people can pick what they love and leave the rest.
Yeah, and so we've kind of noticed and we've broken it down. Our structure is how we noticed how our date nights would unfold. And one thing that often is a big important one is the transition. It's 6:30, you're gonna cook some dinner. It's now 7:30, you've had dinner, and you have that beautiful question, darling, what should we do tonight?
Exactly.
And then there's a choice. It's like, well, what should we do? And we appreciate, and this is what we've noticed, is like there is one path which is like quite a nice one, which is like chill and relax. It's a nice path. And there's the other path of let's connect and be intimate. But there is sometimes some resistance behind that path B of connect and be intimate. And so one of the beginning parts of the structure of our tantric date nights is how to move past that resistance, how to get more into the zone.
Yeah, and how to make it a ritual so that you're almost training your subconscious to find it easier to make the transition. Because there's this memory of like, yeah, last time I felt like this as well. But inside the structure that we created for each other, it was actually quite easy to soften and come into a different feeling in my body, come into a different state.
So for me, it's candles.
Yeah.
And I say it because I'm also saying it to myself in my mind. So every time I get into the zone where there's candles, I relax.
So
I'm just like brain hacking myself. I do love candles. They do make me relax and they do make me feel like timeless. And so now it's like if I set up a candle, I'm signaling to my brain as like it's relaxed time. It's time to be like, you know, sensual.
So for me, it's actually the breathing, because I'm definitely noticing that when I exhale with the sound and I have your eye contact and I feel I'm seen and how I actually feel, because if I feel resistance, you hear that in each other in the beginning, right? You're sitting,
Yeah.
you're looking into each other's eyes, you're breathing together. And there's like all these like little bits of tension and resistance, and they're allowed and they're okay to be there, and they're expressed through the sound, and eventually, especially with the breath and hearing each other and yourself breathe, you really witness that transition that we're saying from the softening that goes further and further.
Yeah.
So that's super simple, but that definitely does it for me. And also, I guess, having done so much pleasure meditation and solo practice, when I breathe in this way and I become aware of my body and I feel my root, my pussy already starts tingling. So that's also something that helps me be even more in my body, because then there's this subtle current of pleasure, and it helps me to stop thinking about all this crap that I think about.
Exactly. So now that we're not thinking about all this crap that we're always thinking about, what's next? So we've done the transition. We're now in the mood. We're ready to go. Now it's ritual time. And that's when we're going to introduce the rituals of how we can connect and be present and explore.
Yeah, for me, already that is already part of the ritual. Like
It's already
setting the
part of it.
stage,
Yeah, it's already part of the ritual.
But, like,
Okay, so it's like
more practices.
the main event.
Yeah,
The main event. Okay.
the main practice.
The main practice. Part of the
The main
bigger
ritual.
Part of the bigger ritual is the main practice.
The big piece ritual. Yes,
The showstopper.
exactly. And it's quite cute if you have like a potpourri of different things that you can choose from, and one person chooses them. And you can even do quite a poorly job in leading them, which I did last time we sat together, and I was guiding us to do like a hard breath where there is kind of like a bioresonance connection of different energy points in the body, blah blah blah, if you're into that stuff. And then you circulate the energy from the heart and you give it to the person in front of you, and you receive it from them, and it feels really nice, especially around the back of the heart. And I will remember, like, while guiding, like saying, "Oh, breathe into your left," guiding Patrick, because I was choosing the practice, that my instructions were super shit, but it still worked.
Yeah, it did.
I was
Because I knew what we were doing, but yeah.
I'm just saying, if you know the practices after a while,
Yeah, not
You
everything
can
has
drop-
to
you
not
can
everything
drop
has to be like
perfectly
grade A
orchestrated.
facilitation.
No.
Remember to breathe.
So you can have a good time when you've practiced the things a couple of times.
Yeah, no, of course they're
Yeah.
not even that difficult.
They're not that difficult, no.
So then we have the main practice, which is really just helping us to melt into intimacy and to connect, to be vulnerable, and just to share juicy moments together.
Yeah.
And then we come out of that more into like an integration piece, huh?
Mm-hmm.
The transition.
And it's kind of like, it always starts with centering, grounding, slowing down, because for being present, it just needs that quality for most humans I know, including myself. There's just this dropping in, as we've been calling it, that needs to happen, right? So whatever that will be for you, some people need a bit more, maybe some firm touch, for example. I know when you feel
Grounding.
when you feel a little stuck in your head or a little unpresent, having really firm touch, for example, does it for you. Like for me to like push on your hips or even lie on top of you for just to breathe there, right? Like not to arouse you, but just to like put my body weight onto you.
Yeah. While looking at a candle.
Exactly. While listening to Mozart.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so my point is that the arc of grounding, becoming present, becoming more aware of subtler states to eye contact, like from anchoring in my own body to connecting with my loved one, to melting any rigidity, to then either sharing touch or a breathwork piece
Or
or
communication.
communication, whatever the main event is, as Patrick was calling it. And then there is like an arc of closure, because of course, if you want to, you can have even more intimacy afterwards, and you could go into lovemaking or whatever, but there needs to be a closure and a separation from, okay, so this piece is over, and now this ritual is complete. And now if both people already want it, of course you can do whatever you want to do. But it's kind of important for the days where you don't feel like that there's still the same structure of closing it
Yeah.
and having a sense of, this was lovely, this is complete,
Yeah.
this is it. There's no disappointment.
It keeps it special. It keeps
Yeah.
it keeps it sacred, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it keeps that ritual a ritual, because if you're not closing it off and you're just already like, going into lovemaking, the ritual's there, sitting there, watching you, being like, you just used me. You used me to get together like that. And so when you close it, the ritual's then like, yes, I feel respected and honored. Now you two can do whatever you want to do. Like this. You're confused now by that. What I said.
No, I've
right?
never thought about it like that. It's a very interesting
Well,
way
I just
of-
took the ritual
just
and just
like,
turned it
as
into
a
like a third,
person.
and turned it into a third person.
It almost feels like someone's watching us next time, who's called Mr. Ritual.
Well, you're opening a portal. A portal is like, it has some form of, it's there.
Yeah,
It's there.
it's its own kind of thing. No, I'm not confused. I'm just actually thinking.
Yeah,
about
so it
this.
keeps it special, it keeps it sacred. And you're also like letting your body knows, your own body and your partner's body, that there's a beginning and the middle and the end. And that path, that container, is respected.
Yes,
And
I
that's
love that.
important because it becomes more powerful. Because whenever you disrespect the container, then it gets pissed off with you and it becomes not as powerful because it's a loose container. You know what I mean? It's like,
But there's, in other words, there is a sense of unsafety coming in when the container isn't respected, because
yeah,
then the subconscious can be like, oh, like what can, oh, is this like over now? Like basically you can creating structure and the containment of the ritual brings a lot of peace, ease, and like trust. So you
Yeah.
can be much more focused and present and relaxed inside the structure, because it's clear how it starts and that it ends. And as we said in the beginning, having expectations or feeling like something is expected is really bringing us out of that experience. So if you start messing with the structure, the container being like a safe and reliable thing that guides you along this ritual, then you also invite more of these nasty thoughts that distract you.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And so that's why having that's why having the integration is super important. And another reason as well is, like, if you give integration more time to be felt, to be heard, and to be like witnessed, then you begin to really notice the subtle power of the ritual.
The
And
effects.
then you're like, oh yeah, so this is working like this. And then you could be lying there either still together or maybe separate, and you could be like, well, actually, did this sequence of activities within the ritual, and I am actually having a feeling of connection. I am having all these same feelings as if we made love. And then you're like, wow, this is super powerful. It's slightly different, but it's still very powerful. And then you begin to realize as well that you can achieve a lot of beautifulness in different ways. You can so for me as a man, I can get that feeling of connection, and it's not involved penetration or making love. And in doing that, then takes a lot of expectation away from having sex and penetration, because you know you can get your connection needs met by other avenues in your relationship. And when you take away that expectation of like having it, or that scarcity of like, oh, I need to have more sex, then you generally tend to have more sex. And so it's like it's just a really beautiful way of like, and this all comes down from the integration of like really registering the powerful of of listening to the medicine of the subtleties of the medicine of the ritual.
And the echo of what the effect. I love what you're describing. If I apply this to my sexuality, it's actually the resistance that I often have when I think about penetration straight. There's hardly ever, I don't think I've ever run around and thought, oh, penetration right now would be great. It's just like this, that just doesn't happen in my experience. And I know there are women who feel like that in some moments. And I also know they're the minority. So most women don't walk through the day and think of like straight up penetration as something that would make them feel super connected and in love with their partner. Which so how to say this? So for me, there's a resistance to that in a long-term relationship. There's like, it's almost like somewhere where I love when I arrive there, but that I don't really want to start getting to. So there's a bit of a resistance. And having a ritual like that where I'm not expected to arrive there and want that, and where in fact nothing is expected, and I can just be myself with none of this head fuck that can haunt me, then I can soften and open. And I, not always, but a lot of the times actually do arrive in a place where I'm so soft, I feel so seen, I feel emotionally connected, and then I feel my sensuality just percolating. And it might be that I feel like touching Patrick's skin, or like rubbing my breast in his face, or doing something, that just comes naturally because I am in this soft place where it's just, I don't know, it's no other way for me to describe it than soft, which I am not.
Gooey.
There's no, when I'm trying to like reply to an email and if I know how to concentrate, that's not a soft place. So it's like the opposite of I don't know, just effort, I guess. Yeah.
Beautiful.
This feels complete, doesn't it?
Yeah, feels complete.
So tantric nights,
Tantric nights.
that's where it's at.
That's where it's at. You can also do tantric nights during the day.
Tantric days.
Tantric days. Just throw it out there. Candles don't work as well during the day unless you have good curtains. Something to bear in mind. So thanks for listening to this. I think it's been great.
We recommend listening to this.
Yeah. I'm gonna listen to this again.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Say something to finish this off.
Okay, this podcast is now complete.